Sean Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you. We're going to make something kind of tropical. And what we're going to make is not a juice, although we are using the Omega NC800 Nutrition Center, which is a juicer, but it's also a multi-function appliance. Besides making just juices, it'll make things like nut butters, frozen banana, and other fruit sorbets. It'll grind up and homogenize things into baby food. It'll grind your coffee beans. But today, what we're gonna do is make salsa fresca! Olé! So this is a very simple recipe, really quick and simple and easy. And the reason why I'm showing you guys this today is because I want you guys to eat fresh foods. Fresh fruits and vegetables, in my opinion, are the best foods on the earth. They have the most nutrition in the earth. They're gonna give your body the nutrients it needs so that you can be optimally healthy, in my opinion. So this is just yet another way to include more fruits and vegetables in you by using your Omega NC800. And it's super simple, super easy. So let's get started. The simple ingredients we're gonna use today are, number one, cilantro. It's about 60% of a bunch. We have one little clove of garlic. We have an onion, and this is a homegrown onion, and my secret is you want to grow your own onions in rock dust minerals and compost, and they're going to be especially sweet if you grow sweet onions. So this is a sweet candy white onion, and it's going to be delicious. It's going to have no bite, and I mean I can almost eat this like an apple. Wow, that's so sweet. I'm not even tearing up. It's actually quite good, man. I'm impressed. So we're going to use a sweet onion, probably about half of this nice size sweet onion that I grew and harvested just the other day. Oh yeah, and this is my garlic too. Another thing we're going to use is a lime. Limes are definitely good. They're high in vitamin C and they can prevent scurvy. And that's what they did use them for in the olden days. Very important when picking a lime, you want to get a lime that has more yellow than green. The limes that are more yellow than green are a little bit more ripe, and they're going to have a little bit more delectable flavor is what I like to say. Of course, in the salsa, you're going to want to add some hot peppers, ole, depending on how caliente you like it. And of course, the backbone of any salsa is the tomatoes. So you want to get good tomatoes. I mean, I'm all about the freshness and highest quality ingredients that you can get. It'll just make your recipes taste that much better. And when things taste better, generally they're more nutritious. So I'm sure you guys have had those pink tomatoes in the wintertime that literally bounce when you drop them, and they just don't taste like nothing. You know, besides the homegrown tomatoes that mine aren't quite ready yet. I got these guys. These are Del Cabo sugar plum grape tomatoes. These guys are quite sweet. And once again, the quality of the ingredients are gonna make this recipe taste great. And those are all the major ingredients, and we got a couple of things we're gonna add in at the end, but I wanna show you how easy it is to use the Omega NC800 to basically grind up all these ingredients into a nice salsa fresca for you, or actually tonight, it's for my tummy. So the first thing is, you can see we have the Omega NC800 here, and this is what's called a horizontal single auger style juicer. It runs at a low and slow 80 RPMs. So it's going to minimally oxidize anything you put in there. Some machines run at 10,000 RPMs, are very loud and add more air and oxidize whatever you're putting in there, whether it's a salsa or just juicing your vegetables. Now this juicer is kind of unique because it has what's called a blank plate. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take off this end cap right here. And we're going to take out this juicing screen. So this is a two-stage juicing screen. Unlike other single auger juicers that may only have a one-stage screen, this is two-stage. So on the initial crush, juice is squeezed out the bottom, and then juice is squeezed out again on the second stage to get even a higher yield. We're not going to use this for the salsa because that would make kind of like a salsa juice, and you can do that if you want, but I don't want that tonight. So what we're going to use instead is what's called the blank plate. So this is called the blank plate. It's also used for grinding the nut butters, making baby food, making sorbets, and we're going to use it for our salsa tonight. So we're just going to go ahead and simply slide that in the machine. Then we're going to put our end cap on. Now this end cap is set up for juicing. It has a little dial here on the end that controls how much back pressure will be kept on the juice. And it's set from 1 to 5. For making salsa, we need to remove this completely because we just want to use this as a grinder only. And we are not adding any other attachments on the front end of this because we just want it nice and ground up without getting too fine of a texture. So now we're all ready and set. one of the things I like about the NC800 compared to other single auger horizontal style machines is it has the largest feed chute of any horizontal single auger style juicer or cold press juicer that I've seen. It's actually quite big. So what does this mean to you? This means less cutting and more time juicing or making salsa. Remember, salsa. So when using the NC800 juicer, it's very important to rotate the ingredients you're putting in, whether you're juicing or making something like nut butters or sorbets with different kinds of fruits. You want to rotate. You don't want to put all your bananas and then all your strawberries. You want to put a little cilantro, put a little onion, you know, put a little garlic, put a little pepper, put a little tomatoes, and then repeat. So the juicer has all these different textures to spit out, and it's going to be better mixed in the end. So what we're going to do is we're just going to do a rough chop on the cilantro. It's very important, just get a little rough chop in there. And I am putting a good portion of the stems because the stems actually have nutrition in there and also some nice water content, and we'll add some nice texture to your salsa. And then we're going to go ahead and cut this onion up. Cut a couple nice sections off. We're going to keep about half it out. And let's see, we're going to go ahead and cut this into a couple different pieces here that'll easily fit in the machine. So we could once again rotate it in. We're going to go ahead and cut that garlic up in about 4 pieces. And on the peppers, what we're going to do is we're going to remove the green ends here. You always want to remove these green ends. You do not want to put these green tips through the juicer. You just want to put the pepper itself. And yes, you can put the seeds. That'll add some nice spice to your salsa. So now everything's cut up, prepared, and ready to go. And we're just going to put everything through the machine. First step is we need to turn it on. The on and off switch is in the back here. We're going to click that on, nice and quiet. Runs at a slow 80 RPMs. We're going to go ahead and open up these tomatoes, and one at a time we're just going to put handfuls of the ingredients through the machine, and you'll be able to see what happens when we put it in and as it comes out. Tomatoes going right in the machine. And look, no pusher. Then we're going to have to go ahead and put some cilantro in there. Then we're going to go ahead and put some onions. And check this out, man. The Omega NC800 is crushing it all up, making that perfect salsa texture that you get in a jar. But remember, when you buy salsa in a jar, you're getting pasteurized salsa. Things in jars have to be heat processed, and when you heat process things, you lose nutrition. All right, here goes some garlic, pow! And check it out, at no time are we using the pusher. This machine is literally self-feeding due to the larger feed chute size in the auger. This is awesome. Let's go ahead and put some of that onion in there. Let's go ahead and give us some pepper in there. This is feeding at the perfect rate. All right, let's go ahead and put some more garlic in there and check it out. There's all the salsa coming out. Let's put a little bit more cilantro in there. We're gonna follow that with another handful of tomatoes. And check it out when we put these tomatoes in there, man. It does an amazing job at making that awesome salsa texture that you're used to from the container. Now this is fresh salsa. Fresh salsa is definitely better than canned salsa because it's gonna have higher levels of nutrition in there for you when you eat it. Plus, I always like to say, freshest is bestest, and I was not an English major either. So we're pretty much running through all the different produce items. It's going very fast. We've got about one more handful of tomatoes, and I really like the consistency when the tomatoes come out. Let's go ahead and put a couple more onions in there as well. Now I want to remind you guys, you know, every different food you're putting in, especially all these different foods of different colors that we're putting in the NC900 have different nutrients that are good for you. For example, probably the most well-known nutrient in the tomatoes are the lycopene. Lycopenes are an antioxidant, and they're really good for us. There's a lot of research with lycopenes, even so much as that some people want you to take little supplement pills of lycopene, but why take supplements when you have the NC800 to grind up all the tomatoes and make a nice, delicious salsa so that you can get your lycopene fresh. Next, we're almost out of the cilantro as we put a little bit more in there. Cilantro is a delicious herb. I love it a lot. Either you love it or you hate it. I happen to love it a lot, and it's also very good, they say, for a detox, for detoxing heavy metals and the such. Let's see, let's go with the hot pepper. Hot peppers are rich in capsaicin, which is said to be anti-inflammatory. Of course, the onions and the garlic family, rich in the different phytochemicals that have been shown to help with fighting things like cancer in some of the research that I've read. Let's go ahead and put some more onion in there. We're almost done making our salsa. Let's go ahead and jam in some more tomatoes. I really love how those tomatoes look as they work their way through the machine. Let's go ahead and put a couple pieces of cilantro in at the same time. And look at the machine, the NC800 by Omega. Literally take those tomatoes and crush them up so that you do not have to. I mean, in the olden days, they might take a mortar and pestle and do all this stuff. But man, super simple, super easy with the Omega NC800. All right, so that's the last handful of tomatoes going right in the NC800. Let's see if they could work themselves in without me having to use a pusher. And yes, score! It's working itself in. I have not used the pusher one time when making my fresh salsa in the Omega NC800. And check it out. It's pretty much all done. We're gonna let this run a couple more seconds and tip the juicer up, which is my secret to get the rest of that delicious sauce out. Set it back down, and now we can go ahead and turn it off. You can see we have our delicious salsa. We're gonna take our spoon and just kind of mix this up. We wanna mix up all these ingredients. You can see there, we got the green, that's the cilantro, got a little white component, left it a little bit chunky, but not too watery. Man, this is just like one of those ones you'd go and find at a Mexican restaurant that you now can make in your home. This is a really nice consistency, nice and broken up. Of course, you know, you could chop all this up if you wanted more of a pico de gallo and a texture, but man, this would be perfect for dipping some fresh cut up vegetables or maybe even some tortilla chips if you wanted to. So we got all that mixed up, and the next step, salsa is not a salsa without a lime. So we got a nice lime here, and we're just gonna go ahead and cut this lime up. And yes, you could have put the whole lime through the machine, but then it wouldn't make your salsa taste very good, so we're just gonna cut it up. This happens to be a seedless lime. We're just gonna squeeze and get all that fresh juice of a half a lime into the salsa and mix it right in. This is gonna take that salsa over the top, give it that nice lime flavor. Let's go ahead and mix that up a little bit more. So it's all mixed up, and now let's go ahead and get a taste. Wow. It's like fireworks going off in your mouth, but something's missing. Ooh, I can taste that spice, really good. I like things a little bit hot. Some like it hot. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna add some dried hot peppers that I dehydrated and ground up. We're gonna just add a little bit of couple shakes in here. Or you could use cayenne if you don't have your own dried hot peppers. Before we mix that up, we're gonna add a few more things. Most people would add some salt. We actually got some Seasons 90 100% natural sea salt containing 90 minerals in it. I'm not gonna use that. You can use that if you want. I try to, you know, keep my diet lower in sodium. And so what I'm gonna add instead, which is in my opinion, you know, not traditional, but a lot more healthy, is this stuff right here. It's called the sea greens. And what this simply is, this is basically powdered seaweeds. So the powdered seaweeds, they come from the ocean, and guess what's in the ocean? Mostly salt. So the seaweeds are sea vegetables in the ocean that absorb the salt naturally and the other minerals in the ocean. So they'll give you the salty flavor without the sodium with a lot of other minerals, unlike the sea salts that have mostly sodium with a small bit of other trace contaminant minerals. This one has mostly other minerals plus some sodium. So we're gonna have to do this a little bit liberally, add a bunch, you know, a bit more than you would add salt. And yes, some of these seaweeds, they can taste a little bit fishy. So if you don't like that, maybe get some dulse flakes that taste more salty without the fishy flavor. Next, of course, we're gonna add some pepper. We happen to have some lemon pepper today, but use any kind of pepper you want, black pepper, white pepper. We're just gonna shake a little bit in there. All right, man, I think we're all done. Now, last step, just mix this baby up. Doesn't that look good, man? This looks like something you'd get at a total Mexican restaurant, nice and dark. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, you're gonna get to try it. Wow, that's good. Now you could just eat this as a salad, but let me give you guys my serving suggestions. All right, so this salsa is super delicious, and I could literally just eat this for dinner as a salsa salad, and I would encourage you guys to do that as well, but I know many of you guys are not used to eating this quantity of salsa in this way, so you might wanna dip something in it. So what are you gonna dip in the salsa? I mean, people immediately think salsa equals tortilla chips, right? Tortilla chips are fried, and fried foods, in my opinion, are probably one of the least healthiest foods. If you are gonna eat the tortilla chips, I encourage you to get the baked tortilla chips instead. And more importantly, the tortilla chips are made out of corn, and many corn grown in the US is actually genetically modified. So if you're gonna get tortilla chips, I recommend you get organic baked tortilla chips. That being said, corn is not a vegetable, it's actually a grain. So when you're eating corn, you're not eating vegetables, you're eating grains. And I want you to eat fruits and vegetables. So I'm gonna share with you guys some ways to eat the salsa with more fruits and vegetables. So the first vegetable we got is some romaine hearts. And these romaine hearts are nice and thick, especially you get down into the middle there. And you could dip it in there just like a chip and get a whole globber of salsa. Now, while I could eat this, I'm gonna take this to the next level. As you can see here, I got some cut up avocado. And these are just cut up pieces of avocado. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna stick the avocado on top of the salsa. This is for one very important reason. Number one, it's gonna make the salsa taste better. Number two, it's gonna give you a little bit of fat content. And when you eat your salsa, including the lycopenes and other nutrition in there with some fat, it's gonna slow down the absorption, so you're gonna get higher levels of nutrition in you. And can't wait to eat it. It's the bomb! So besides dipping lettuce leaves in your salsa, you could also dip other vegetables, such as jicama. Jicama, you can actually buy a jicama. It's a jicama root. It's actually quite delicious. Really neutral flavor. You're gonna peel the jicama and then just slice that into chips and dip it in and eat. Yumbo. Other things you can dip in would be take some Jerusalem artichokes. Once again, you wanna skin it, dip it in and eat. Or yacon. Yacon would be an excellent idea to actually buy some yacon. It's an Andean sweet tuber, grows under the ground. It's actually known as earth apple because it has a really neutral and yet sometimes a little bit sweet flavor depending on how it's handled after the harvest. You could do that with this. You could cut up some carrots and dip it in here. But besides the vegetables, you can also eat it with some fruits. You're saying, John, what? You're gonna eat the salsa with some apples? No, not apples. We're gonna eat the salsa with some cucumber rounds. So we just took some cucumbers and sliced them up, and these look really cool because the shapes around the edges. This is not a normal cucumber. I like to eat unusual foods that taste really great. What this is called is an Armenian cucumber. So if you're from Armenia, you're probably familiar with these guys. These are actually cucumbers that have a light green skin. They could also have a dark green skin, and they could also have a striped skin. So there's actually 3 types of Armenians. These guys, even when they're a little bigger, taste amazing. They have a nice neutral flavor. As you can see, there's not really any seeds in there yet when it's this young. So it's more like an English cuke. Once again, we're just gonna dip that like a little chip. Gonna once again get little avocado, put it on there. Nice and crunchy, just like that tortilla chip you're used to, without all the fat. So the last fruit I'm gonna use is a nice phallic symbol. And no, it's not one of those. This is actually called an okra. And this is actually fresh picked out of my garden, nice and long, coming out right there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut off the end right here. And then all we're gonna do is simply just slice this in half. Very important when picking okra. You wanna get it when it's nice and young and tender, otherwise it's gonna get nice and hard, not so good. And once again, we have something to dip in the salsa. Boom, nice globber salsa. And once again, we can't forget the avocado, add a little bit of fat, get better digestibility, and ramp up the flavor. Muy bueno. Delicioso! Man, this stuff is so delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode learning how to make salsa fresca in the Omega NC800 Nutrition Center. I mean, super simple, super easy. Now, anyone can make fresh salsa if you get this juicer. Plus, also, you'll be juicing your fruits and vegetables so that you can get more of the fresh fruits and vegetables in you that are some of the best foods on the planet to eat. In my opinion, people do not eat enough fruits and vegetables, and with the NC800, you'll now be able to do just that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today I have another exciting episode for you, and I got the all-new NC800 juicer. This is the video you guys have been waiting for. It's the juicer that I've been waiting for because I tried it at the trade show several months back, and now, within 30 days, it's going to be available for you guys to buy. But before you guys are able to buy it, I get a sample to show you guys what it's about and share my opinions on it with you. So, to let you guys know, if you don't know what this is,